Oh, it worked. Hey, good morning, everyone. RT Bear here, Hack Shack Studios. We got a doozy of a show for you today. Look at this thing over here framed up perfectly. Uh, yeah, I realized that I came this close to having a Batman story that I had written published. And so I'm going to tell that tale. I'm sorry, I'm a little winded. I had a little last minute emergency dog situation. He has toys, and sometimes they make noise. They make a lot of noise. But yeah, the story is going to be good, you guys. It might be a little lengthy. I'm going to try to abbreviate it. I trust me, I'm a good storyteller. Sometimes not always that good at saying it out loud. So we will try our best, and I'll try my best to be entertaining with it. And also, we are going to give you a couple black and white updates. I do have a book in demand right now. It's called Black and White, Volume 2, Man versus Machine, and it is kicking all kinds of butt thanks to you guys over there. And yeah, we're gonna have fun, you guys. So buckle up and prepare yourself for the ride. Yes. Let me touch base with everybody first. Past Master Dan, first man in. God bless you, young man. Yes, and right back at you, Past Master. Hit that like, everybody. Please, it helps with the algorithms and helps get exposure. So give it a thumbs up. I would appreciate that. And whoa, way ahead of me. And you can click this link and back a black and white book for your very own, which is what I work on every day. It is my passion right now. So Sierra Whiskey, long time no see, man. I think you evacuated California too. We both did, but it was great that we both lived at the same place at the same time and got to hang out a few times. So Sierra Whiskey, one of the good guys, and same for Trevor. Trevor's left in California. We will hope for your your quick exit of that state. I know how you feel about stuff as well. Pedro, what's up, man? Pedro's got Tropical Magics. It's a live campaign, so if I guess Past Master, do you have? Yeah, you have a wrench. If you could put a link for Pedro's book, that would be great. That is Tropical Magics, doing good, doing strong. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to turn on the fan in here. It's a little musty. It's raining, so there's just a tad humidity, not a lot. House of R, how are you? Man, we got a good turnout here. Praetor, good morning. How are you? Mighty Joe, hell, Past Master Dan. I got some fans out there. Past Master Dan, fan of Pedro. Let me see what Sierra Whiskey says. Hey, Art, what happened to my wrench? I don't know. I don't take anything. What you guys, I have basic skills. Like I have no idea what I'm doing half the time when it comes to technology. So if you had a wrench, let me see. I can give you a wrench. Let me see what happened here. Let's see if I remember how to do this. I think I remember how to do this. Yeah, let's see. All right. So where are you, Sierra Whiskey? Boom, there you are. Go to channel. No. Add as a mod. Boom. You should have a wrench now, my friend. I just clicked the wrench button. So Sierra Whiskey, you should have a wrench now. Hello, darlings. Skip Edwards, what's up? Man, we got a full house here. Oh, cool. Another new face. How are you, AV? The Surge. Yellow Spider-Man. That's a new one. Yellow Spider-Man 2. Same person. Hello, can I have a wrench too? No. I don't know who you are. Once you buy me dinner, like Sierra whiskey, then dinner and drinks, then you get a wrench. Sierra. Wait. Okay, Sierra says RT Bear is a gentleman and a scholar. Do you have your wrench? I don't see a wrench by your name. I clicked the wrench button. My wrench is the biggest. He's got the biggest wrench of them all. House of R. I think my wrench is gone too. LOL. I don't think you bought me dinner. I see the wrench. It's right there. I can almost grab it. Well, prove yourself worthy and put either a black and white link or a Tropical Magics link in for Pedro, the brilliant Pedro Ang. Well, I'm going to get right to it because this is going to be it's going to be epic. So you can see I got the black and white stuff in the back there. If you guys don't know and just tuned in, not black and white, I'm sorry, Batman stuff in the back. Wow, that was a weird jump there. Yeah. I'm a big, huge Batman fan. If it wasn't for the Batman character, I probably wouldn't be drawing comics and writing comics right now. So I do tribute just about everything I'm doing right now to the Batman character. And so I was about 5 or 6 when the 66 TV series was on. So I was the perfect age. I lost my mind. I got Batman fever. And I'm still running a temperature from the 60s here. So, yeah. Oh, my gosh. It's a bunch of wrench talk here. Oh, my gosh. I have a wrench in my garage. Does that help? No. Pedro's got wrench envy. I have a wrench in my back. Ugh, that sounds dangerous. Oh, look at this. Yes. The wrench worked. The wrenching of the whiskey. Yeah. So huge Batman fan. I learned about the comic books shortly after the TV series. I have to admit, the TV series was my first introduction to the character. And then when I saw there were comic books, this is when comics worked, man. When you could go to local stores and find comic books, and I saw a comic book on the rack and begged my mom to pick me up a copy, and I was very good. I did everything she asked of me. It's the parent bribery, and she bought me a Batman comic. I still have it. I showed it off, I think, on a Professionals a few months back, and it was good times. I was hooked. So this is years later. All I ever really wanted to do is have a run on Batman. Once I got it working as a professional, I wanted to work on the Batman titles. But Danny O'Neill, who was the editor on the Batman books, just didn't deem me worthy, even though I was working on other top-notch books like Superman, things like that for DC. So I wasn't a slouch, but just didn't quite fit in. And I can't say that I tried for a long time, but there was a moment in time that I tried. And I think there was an assistant. He had an assistant. His name was Dan Raspler. And Dan liked my work and would bring it up to Denny quite a bit. Like it seemed like it was a year, but it was probably only like 4 months. So, oh my gosh, wrenches are popping up everywhere. Oh man, dinner's on me. Yeah. If anybody knows me, lives in the area, take me out to dinner and I'll give you a wrench. I have my price. And so, so I'm one of those guys that has very, very specific ideas of what the Batman character is. And so I kind of stopped reading a lot of the Batman comic books because it really wasn't my idea of the character. So I always had just like, what if Batman this? What if Batman that? Over the years. So I was hanging out with some DC guys, so a few years back, and I I'm going to start with this part. Let me see if I can share. Yeah. And I met, I knew Mark before. This is Mark Guggenheim. And I knew Mark before. Mark actually loves the chronomechanics. And he was at a brief moment of time. I mean, he volunteered it. He said that this would make a great movie or like cartoon show. And I happened to agree with him. And so we got to talking about Chrono. And so that was kind of the start. And then we would bump into each other at different shows, conventions, things like that. And so we always made time for each other to hang out. Just a great guy, just a really, really friendly guy. And he knows everything that's going on. Like, I'm always amazed when people follow my career, and this guy knew what I was working on, all this other stuff. So we just got to talking, and let me give you his resume real quick. American screenwriter, television producer, comic book writer, and novelist. So he's best known for his series, what is that, Ellie Stone. He worked on Arrow and Legends of Tomorrow. I think he was there early on in development of those two shows. And Legends of Tomorrow, I believe that's the show. I only watched it once. I get royalty checks for that because I think Rip Hunter and Time Masters are in that show. And I did a series that I penciled and created some characters and stuff like that. So that was really cool. So I think, I'm also a blip on his radar because of that. He was one of the many writers on that Green Lantern movie with Ryan Reynolds. I will not hold that against him. I think that was micromanaged and just turned into a cluster F from what I hear. He did Percy Jackson, which I'm not sure I saw Sea of Monsters. So those are his big screen resumes. And so let's skip to the good meat and potatoes. So what is he working on now? He's working on Tales of Arcadia. Is that with Guillermo Betero and Troll Hunters, Three Below, Wizards, Tales of Arcadia. This guy is very prolific, gets a lot of work. And then he has a comic book resume. So he's written Punisher, Wolverine. He worked as an intern at Marvel in 1990 under Terry Kavanagh, and he even colored an 8-page Iceman Human Torch story. And so he worked on Aquaman. I mostly know him as a DC guy. Aquaman, DC Comics, and The Flash. I think I may have worked on some of those Flash issues that he worked on. I've done a couple runs on The Flash. Nothing really too definitive, but mostly towards the ends of the runs of there were 2 different Flash series that I worked on. And Guggenheim became one of the rotating team on Amazing Spider-Man. He did a creator-owned for Oni Press called Resurrection, and Young X-Men, Marvel. He worked on a comic with Hugh Jackman and Virgin Comics, Nowhere Man, and Super Zombies for Dynamite Entertainment and Stephen King. So yeah, he's done quite a bit of work. Justice Society of America. He's married to Tara Butlers, who previously worked on projects like Marvel's Agent Carter, DC's Resurrection, and Dollhouse. So anyways, if you don't know Mark, this is Mark. So I want to give you guys a brief introduction. Oh, stop sharing. There we go. And so I should be back, hopefully. So yeah, so, I'm hanging out with Mark. And I think we were having lunch at Wizard. No, it was WonderCon. And so we were just, also it was in there. He worked on Law and Order. So he has done procedural kind of like cop shows and stuff like that, courtroom dramas and stuff like that. And so we were talking about courtroom dramas. And I said, I just threw this out there. And I threw this just just to make conversation. I wasn't trying to sell him anything or anything like that. And I just said, I really like procedural stuff. I like courtroom dramas. He goes, I love courtroom dramas. And so I was like, I said, I have an idea for a Batman courtroom drama. And then he was like, oh my gosh, like he'd never heard like a courtroom drama with Batman. And to this day, I still don't think there's been a more like procedural courtroom drama with Batman and kind of how all that stuff works. And so he was really intrigued with it. And so then he said, tell me the story. He said, tell me a story. So I did. And this is the story. So, wow, that was a pretty good setup. And so I said, it has a courtroom element to it. And it has, I said, this is like ideas. What gave me the ideas was the idea for this is that there was a McMartin preschool that used to be, I used to live in Manhattan Beach. So right across the street from my apartment was the McMartin preschool. And if anybody heard about this, is probably in the 90s. It was a major like witch hunt. There are people that still believe that those kids were molested, but it was a daycare center, and they said that the McMartin family were molesting children, and so it was a long, drawn out ordeal. And I lived in the community, and so the community would talk about this like in public places. It was a beach area, so people, you could. You go to the beach, different eateries and stuff, eating bars. You can hear people talking about it. And so, there was everybody in the community was convinced that these McMartins had done it, right? And then I was in a print shop getting some prints made or something, and it was packed, and the verdict had come down that the McMartins were found innocent. And that place lost its collective mind. They were like, they wanted blood. I had never been in a situation like that where people were actually like, how could this happen? There's so much evidence against them, blah, blah, blah. Excuse me. But, the facts being the facts, and, the jury can only deliberate on the facts. They said that the testimonial from the kids were coerced. There was all kinds of shenanigans going on with attorneys and stuff. So anyways, they were found innocent, and the collective community kind of lost their mind. And it was the closest to any kind of like kind of lynching or public execution type of feeling, like pitchforks and fire, that type of thing that I had ever noticed firsthand. And so that was kind of rattling around my brain. Like I said, I always had Batman ideas. So I was thinking, like, what if somebody was set up? This was also way before Hush and stuff like that. When I read Hush, I was like, yeah, it's somewhat the same idea. But so what if the Joker of all people was set up? What if there was a slew of horrendous murders and mayhem going on in Gotham City, and it looked like it was the Joker, but it wasn't the Joker? Okay, so that's kind of what started the idea. And then it would be a procedural thing. So then it would go all the way to court, because I also had the idea, like, why has the Joker never been publicly executed? Why is he always just, they always slap his wrist, they put him in the crazy Arkham Asylum, and then he gets out again, and then this whole cycle happens again, right? So those ideas were kind of bugging me, like, why isn't the Joker, why just always Arkham? Why can he always get out? Why is this happening? So I was thinking, like the McMartin thing and Manhattan Beach, what if Gotham at this moment in time with these murders and stuff like that, what if they wanted blood? There was no more tolerance with the Joker. There was no more rehabilitation. There was no more, soft on crime. They wanted blood. So they wanted the Joker brought in, dead or alive, preferably dead. and they wanted, if it went to trial, they wanted him to stand trial as a normal person would, instead of like, he's crazy, and so we can't try him, because he's insane, all that kind of stuff. So the beginning of the story I thought was interesting, where it's just another day. Gordon is driving in to work, and there's an overpass, and then a body just drops right on the car, shatters the front windshield. Gordon can barely control the car. He swerves over, doesn't hit anything, thank goodness. And he looks again at the window, and the face has the fixed smile, the Smilex gas, like he's got the fixed Joker smile. So he's like, oh shit, the Joker's out, right? And so then he goes in, and now there's a manhunt, right? They have like, because instantly this is the Joker's MO. So there's no reason for them to think anything other than the Joker's on a killing spree again, right? Gotham City, beware. And so, anyways, there's a series of events. There's more murders. Batman's kind of brought in. He's investigating with Gordon in a procedural way. And so then you find out that the Joker had left Arkham, like he somehow got out of Arkham Asylum. And so then Batman is, so the timing all works, right? The Joker leaves Arkham, he was behind bars, and then there's these murders. But Batman is not convinced that there's something that's nagging at him, instinct, that this isn't the Joker. And so the Joker actually is scared. He's actually, for the first time, scared because everybody in Gotham has turned against him. Like, there is public outcry. There is anti-Joker outcry. Like, the public are not going to tolerate it anymore. So everybody in Gotham City just wants this man dead. They want this to end. And so then I thought, like, what would be interesting if we did statistics, like, because it's more procedural, like 1 out of every 10 people in Gotham have either lost or have been victim by the Joker, just by his sheer existence. Like the scale of this thing is out of control, right? And so there's a guy, he's kind of like the character in Hush. Like I said, this was way before Hush that I came up with this idea. It's probably 20 years ago, or 20, maybe 30 years ago, I came up with this idea. So then this guy starts working with Gordon and Batman. And I don't know if he was fleshed out. He might have been an attorney. And he's kind of the guy that's fueling the fire. He's the guy that's focusing the rage and going anti-Joker, right? He is like putting his money into it, all this stuff. And he was friends with Thomas Wayne. So it is a little similar to Hush. But like I said, I mean, you guys don't have any way to vouch for me, but Mark Guggenheim does. That I did come up with it before that. And so basically this guy is kind of framing the Joker. The Joker's running scared. And so Batman, so the Joker turns himself in to Batman. He's scared. He wants protection. People want him dead. Like for the Joker, I thought what would be interesting is for the Joker to actually be scared, to be fearful, like that the scale of like hysteria is so big that Gotham City just wants this guy gone. Like there's no more tolerance. And so there's also this guy is bringing up this attorney guy. I don't know if I ever named him. He's also anti-Arkham. So you find out that, he's just kind of, he basically wants anybody that had anything to do with the Joker, his escape, his murder spree, all this stuff, he wants it all overhauled. So he even goes after Bruce Wayne, because Bruce Wayne has been funding Arkham to no avail, like just pumping money into this failed hospital / penitentiary to no avail. Okay. So anyways, Batman and the Joker have a heart to heart. And so the Joker says, you need to protect me. That's why I called you out. I know that you have a good heart and that you want the right thing to be done. You always have. And you're not about vengeance, you're about justice. So I trust you. You know, in a weird way, but this is a Joker that's afraid. Like I've never seen this before, really. And so Batman takes him into protective custody. And so I thought that what would be interesting is that, while he's in protective custody, people have been trying to kill him, all kinds of things. And so Batman says, if I bring you in, then you're going to be tried. And he said, yeah, I understand, but I didn't do it. I didn't kill these people. This is somebody else pretending to be me. And so now it's not the Joker that's the bad guy. It's somebody else. And so Batman and Gordon have to protect this guy, right? Because justice has to be served. The world wants him dead. Gotham wants him dead. It would be so easy just to accidentally or make it look like an accident and off this guy, right? His heart's on his sleeve. This guy is vulnerable. He's humbled. And so I thought that, believing in the system, Batman and and Gordon actually are compiling evidence that the Joker did not kill these people. So the trial is going to be on the innocence of the Joker. It's not going to be, the world wants him to be crucified, right? They want this guy dead, but the courtroom drama will be the opposite, because we'll know, the reader will know that he's innocent, right? So while this trial is going, the world is burning around him, right? So Gotham is just like, we want justice. They're burning the courtroom down. They're firebombing. There's snipers on the roof trying to kill the Joker when he comes in for trial. There's all kinds of craziness. There's even a siege on Wayne Manor because this guy that I was telling you about, this lawyer guy, who, by the way, is the main bad guy. You guys have probably already figured this out. So he actually turns public opinion against Wayne. So then the same mob mentality goes after Wayne Manor. And I thought what would be interesting is that you get to see Wayne Manor as a fortress instead of this big house, beautiful house. You get to see it as a fortress. So when these people come in, like this is hundreds and hundreds of people that are coming into Wayne Manor, they just want it to burn. They want to kill Wayne. They don't care. So they just want anybody to pay or to feel the pain that they've felt, by the Joker. So anybody supporting the Joker, they want to pay, right? So what I was thinking is when they hit the grounds, there's like floodlights that hit. So there's all like these first lines of defense, right? So certain like mellower things or like less bodily harm things happen. And then if the people progress, which they do, then the scale goes higher. So there's pits, there's all kinds of like defense mechanisms. There's like the unbreakable windows. There's, electrified doors. There's all kinds of stuff. But the mob just builds and builds. And so before they know it, there are people getting through all these first lines of defense for the house, And so they get into Wayne Manor. And so they're just ransacking it, right? But Wayne isn't there. He's out as Batman. And so Alfred, you see him in a safe house. So in the house, and then he's kind of got cameras everywhere. So he's kind of fighting the good fight from a distance. He's an old guy. He can't really do much. And so the people are just Wayne, where are you? They're just breaking shit. They just want him dead. They don't care. He's got to pay. And, for supporting the Joker and for the Joker getting out and killing time after time. They're just done. They're just done with it. Right. So so just as you know, I was thinking it would be kind of like the Batman TV series where there's the study, right, and then there's the Shakespeare head, and then there's maybe the clock that slides or the bookshelf, and then there's like entrance to the Batcave. So these guys are in that room right now. So this is Alfred's first line. I mean, his last line of defense. So this is like an Alamo situation, right? So Alfred just gets a shotgun. He's armed and he goes into the room, and he's probably going to die, but he has to keep the bat secret, a secret. He has to do this. So he goes and he's trying to stop them. He's shooting. He's like, I will shoot the first one that moves forward, no bullshit, you guys need to back off. And then he's trying to talk common sense into him. And so then one of them lunges at him. He shoots him, not fatally. And just at that time, Gotham PD shows up and they have the numbers. So like a SWAT team goes in there and battle these guys and take all these guys out of Wayne Manor. Just before, Alfred was probably just going to be horribly murdered by this mob. So you can kind of see where, like, it's just like we'll show. We're also, Gotham will be a story. There'll be characters in the story. You'll get to see the people and how they feel and how they react to a serial killer that's never really been like, what if all these serial killers, like the worst killer, like what if Charles Manson was to go in and out of jail? Like somehow he could like get himself out of jail almost at will. And so then there would be another killing spree, and then they would catch him and bring him back in. And what if this cycle went on? Like, how long do you think it would take before people were just fed up? And so that's kind of the idea. So while these things are happening, while Batman and Gordon are trying to find the real guy that's behind all this stuff, you find, that they're trying to keep the Joker alive, and that there's this trial that's happening, right? And so there's all this evidence that Gordon and Batman have compiled that basically give reason that this isn't the same guy that's killing all these people. And then these people are like, well, why should we believe you? And it's like, well, because the murders have stopped. Like if they're, well, actually, what would that be? Like if the murders stopped, right? Then that would reinforce the people's belief that this was the Joker, right? That the same person that was doing the previous murders was this guy, right? So the guy that Batman and Gordon are dealing with is a mastermind, right? Like this guy, everything all the way down to the trial, he knew that this was not that even if there was facts and there was all this stuff, that this guy was still going to be hung out to dry, that there's only one way that this was going to end, and the real Joker would be put down, which was what this guy wanted from the get-go. And then what you'll find out is Batman does find out who this guy is, figures it out, confronts him, and then you find out that this guy is an attorney. He knew the Waynes. He's an older guy. His father, and he had his family, and he paid a heavy price from the Joker. So the Joker has killed like his family, his father, like he paid like a heavy price by the Joker existing. And so this guy's he's like, he doesn't believe in the system anymore. He was an attorney. He did believe in justice. He believed in the system, but he doesn't anymore. And so then Batman says, by you mocking and orchestrating this, you're illustrating that the system, that you can manipulate, that it is broken, that it needs to be reworked, but it's the only system we have. And the way to do this isn't what you're doing. And he said, how you can't say that, Batman. He said, if the Joker is dead, or if the Joker didn't exist, my parents would be here. My family would be here. all of this stuff. He said, how can you argue with that? And that's a strong argument. Like, how can you? And this story, or these ideas have been taking place in comics forever. Like I remember having conversations at the old Hack Shack Studios, like, Batman should just kill the Joker. And I said, Batman can't kill the Joker, because Batman will compromise everything he believes in. And then he truly will be just a vigilante out for vengeance, and he will be no better than the Punisher. So Batman needs a moral compass. He needs a moral cause. He needs to be that guy, because if he isn't, then he's nothing. You can't say he's a good guy at that point. He still believes in the system. He believes in all of this stuff. And so this guy is kind of like, no, it's kind of a do or die with this guy. So the guy ends up pushing the point, and I don't remember exactly how it ends, but it ends with this guy's death, but not by Batman's hands. I think Gordon puts him down. And so then, without this guy's manipulation, that they're able to bring down the escalation, right? They're able to calm the people down. And one of the things that Wayne does is Wayne becomes an advocate. He actually, at the end of the story, he has this big ceremony. And at the end of the story, they take down Arkham. They bulldoze Arkham. So there's a big, there's a podium, and Wayne is like, I take responsibility. Arkham was an outdated, facility. We have some really serious bad guys, in Gotham, and I'm going to fund, and I'm going to build a new facility, Arkham 2 or whatever it's going to be. And it is going to be a facility that is impenetrable. Nobody's going to be able to get in and out of this thing. And the world is not a perfect place, but, we need to move forward. And so people aren't really happy with the fact that the Joker is found innocent. I think that's kind of a strange way to end the story. But the other guy, the people that like, Batman will bring this guy's story out. They'll tell the story that this guy orchestrated it, all of these other things. And that I forget, there's a bunch of things that Wayne had done. So like all the problems that we deal with in the story proper, at the end, Wayne is going to address those in this public announcement. And so for the sake of this story, they're able to calm people down, and that they're able to kind of bring new order to Gotham. Because one of the things I always thought that was frustrating about Batman is that Gotham never seems to get better. You know what I mean? It always seems like it's the status quo. Like, he does all these things, but the Gotham never changes. So what I would like to see is like this would be like a mini series, or this would be like a one-shot epic. But then where if there was an ongoing after that, or if you were bringing these ideas into the Batman story as monthlies, what you would do is you would start seeing Gotham get better. So you would start seeing statistics shift and change. You would start seeing all those things that we brought up in this story, that they would, over a course of issues, they would change. So maybe you do 12 issues, you do a year run, and you actually show that Batman and Bruce Wayne are bringing hope to Gotham, and that through this horrible, horrible event, even finding the Joker, of all things, innocent of these crimes, Gotham is getting better. And so then you could even change, like, a little bit, you can change Batman and Joker's relationship a little bit. Like, he could visit him, in Arkham. They could have conversations. I'm not saying that that's where you would keep everything, But I think what you would do is you would try to show that these major changes that are being made in the city are actually paying off. So that throwing a lot of money at it, putting a lot of energy into it, all of this stuff, and maybe even like the Joker turns into a Silence of the Lambs kind of situation where he's helping Batman, bring these people in. Like he knows where all the seedy stuff is, so it's almost like not that he's a hero, but that he's very appreciative of that he's still alive. Like he was afraid he wasn't even going to be alive, because the public outcry, even at the trial, was that they wanted him to be executed. If he was found guilty, they wanted him executed. No more, insane pleas, none of that stuff. So, what do you guys think? That's kind of my story. And when I told Mark this, he was like, "Wow, this is really good. This is really good." I mean, the thing is, I never sat down and wrote this out, so this was just me recalling the story, from memory. But and what you could do at the end of the year, like if you show that Gotham is getting better, what you would have to do is you would have to brainstorm with your creative team, the creative team on the Bat books with the editorial, is you would have to brainstorm how to make Gotham, it has to be bad again. You know what I mean? Somehow you have to bring it back. But I don't even think you need to do that, to be honest. I think inevitably you don't really have to address it. You could bring new criminals into it, because the thing is, it doesn't have to be, Gotham doesn't have to be a cesspool. There's crime in Metropolis. You know what I mean? There's all kinds of crime. So the thing is, like, when I worked on Superman, one of the ideas was that Lex Luthor was the reason Metropolis was a mecca. The reason Gotham was this place, like the future, was because of Lex Luthor. Because Lex not only had the money, but he had the vision, and he wasn't afraid to actually make things happen. And so I thought that, why couldn't Wayne do that? I mean, Wayne, I don't think Wayne has the money that Lex does. Hold on. But he could secure the funds. He could aspire money to come in. He could build infrastructure into the city. You know what I mean? Like things can change. And I think that would be an interesting story, that, you still have Batman in the trenches fighting the good fight, because crime is always going to exist. And let's face it, Batman's just cool whether he's fighting organized crime like mobsters, or if he's fighting like, supervillains. All of this stuff is good. But I think what would be interesting is just to show that there's an agenda. There's not just going out and taking down this one villain. He has an overview now. Like, he's not just spinning his wheels as Batman and as Wayne. Now they're working together to actively changing the city. I know that some of these ideas have been in play, but show it, actually commit to the idea, and show that Gotham is becoming a better place. And then you could even bring, like, even Lex in. Like, Lex is jealous and starts coming in. If you wanted to make Lex a villain, and then make Lex at the end of the year go against Bruce Wayne, and then Lex is doing everything he can to sabotage Gotham because he's jealous. He sees that it's actually now going to challenge Metropolis. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff you could do to bring Gotham back to the cesspool. You know what I mean? But I think what would be interesting is to do that. And also, just as an aside, my idea for Arkham was, I think, like, Arkham is a cool visual. It's kind of like the haunted scary mansion kind of look. There's all these trees that don't have leaves on them. They have this scary fence, and it looks like some kind of. It doesn't even look like a hospital to me. It just looks like a scary, mansion. So I thought, like, well, that's the obvious take, right? Oh, it's a scary place, right? So you have all the scary droppings. So you see that, right? But I thought, like, well, we've done that. Like that exists. I like that visual. Don't get me wrong. I do like it. But if Wayne is funding this place, why does it look like this? Like the grounds look unkept. Everybody that works there looks like a creep from an EC comic book. Like wouldn't you have the best like minds that work there? I mean, just to work with somebody like the Joker, wouldn't you think like these people would be writing books and essays and all kinds of stuff on the human psyche and like insanity and all of these things? So my idea for Arkham moving forward would be, it's a state of the art building. This thing is future looking, like it's sterile, like, because to me this is a take that I find scarier than the scary, like overt scary. Overt scary to me is fun. It's like Halloween. It's kind of fun scary. It's safe scary. But to me, I always thought like when I'd see scary movies or whatever, and it would be in a sterile environment. Like if you had like a stark white room, right? And then, just not to be overly graphic, but then you have blood splatter on a white wall. That's scarier than a cinder block moss covered wall, right? Like it's stark. And it's also something you don't expect. You don't expect like this state of the art facility where everybody is kind of like, they want to be there. They want to try to, you can't rehabilitate some of these guys, but you'd have the best minds like working with them, trying to figure out how the mind works, all these things, right? So when something scary does happen there, I think it would have more impact because you wouldn't expect it in this facility that's kinder, gentler approach to the stuff. So it's not overtly scary or creepy, Oh, thank you so much, Eric the Guapo. Art, I have a riddle for you. What is black when it is clean and white when it is dirty? I don't know. Man versus machine. I don't know, man. That's a good one. I hope you do have an answer to it, because you're going to leave everybody hanging here. Thank you so much for the super chat. I do appreciate it. And I'm going to get back to you guys because I want to see what you have to say, but I want to make sure that I get all my thoughts out there. So anyway, I told Mark this idea and he said, I'll pitch it to DC. And so I was like, oh shit. I said, so would you want to write it? And he said, yeah. Cause the thing is, I have dyslexia. Like I have good and bad days where I can put things down in the form of written notes, but I can't really craft anything. I probably could, but it would take me forever. And I'd have to have a proofreader for sure. So I always have to work with somebody. I think I have good ideas. I think I understand story and character and all those things, but I just can't really execute it in the form of a document. And so he said that he would work with me. He would write it. And so then, Comicsgate happens and things like that. So I never followed up on it. And he's a busy guy. So I think it would probably be just one in many ideas and creative ventures that he's doing. So we never followed up. And I stopped going to all those places. Like I don't do LA shows. I don't even live in LA or California anymore. And, all that stuff. So it just kind of distance. I don't really know how he feels about anything that we're doing now, like as far as CG, things like that. I'm sure that he wouldn't give a damn about it. He would probably have to publicly denounce it, but personally, I don't think he would care. And that's fair. I mean, there's no reason anybody that's not benefiting from Comicsgate or being around needs to put his career on the line for it. So I completely understand that. So what do you guys think? Let's go back. I'm sure you guys found some loopholes in the story too, which I would like to hear, because I'm really not sure. I think I wrapped it up pretty good. Though pitch. Let's go. This sounds awful familiar. I might have told this before, but I swear to you, it's not lifted because I stopped reading the Batman books. The last really good Batman story, and it ended up turning into a cluster F, was the Owls. What was it called? The Owl Society that Capullo and Snyder did. I liked that, but I thought it got ridiculous. It got a little too crazy, and I think it went on too long. And I think DC wanted to do one and dones with the New 52, and then they realized that this was a juggernaut, and so they spun it off in all these other Bat books. And I think it got stupid. That if they could have wrapped it up quicker, I thought it was good, because I thought that it was like the Owl Society or whatever it was called. I thought it was a pretty cool idea that there was like this organized group, kind of like the Freemasons or these types, that had a stake in Gotham, that may have even helped in its early phases of development. I like that idea. Assault on Precinct. Yeah, they could even. Yeah, I think that all of Gotham would have been on fire. The first line of defense just activates the automatic sprinklers. Yeah, it could be. Yeah, just stuff like that, or like floodlights, just all kinds of just little things. It's an Alamo situation. Exactly. Sounds great, Art. Dollar signs. Let's see. Let me see. Mark says, would have sold and made DC money. Of course, they didn't do it. I never officially pitched it to DC, so DC might not even know about it. And I'm not sure how far Mark took it. The Joker is a good guy who's just misunderstood. Oh no, they got his ticket. They know what he is. But I just thought it would be. And I wanted to do this with Black and White as well. And I probably will tell a story like this, where, like, I think, we have these stories where it's real obviously black and white, right? This guy is a bad guy. This guy is a good guy. But since the title was Black and White, I thought that what would be interesting is if maybe there was a situation where a villain was wrongfully accused, and they had to prove his innocence. So it would be like the flip side of the situation. I think that could be interesting. And so then it plays upon the black and white versus the gray kind of forms of justice. Like, they definitely have this black and white idea of justice, but they live in a gray world. Let me see. Batman could argue with it because the problem exists before the Joker. Yeah, exactly. Hollywood propaganda has given the angry mob a bad rap. Yeah, I mean, there are some subtleties. I got to take that toy from the dog. Sorry, you guys. I'll keep talking. Hey, Arrow. Hey, let me have this. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. We'll play later. We'll play with the ball later. Yeah, the squeaky ball. I think they give dogs squeaky toys. It's like the squeaky wheel gets the oil, so it's a way for dogs to force their owners to pay attention to them. It's like, play with me. Let's see what Praetor says. You should do this story anyways, like John Byrne is doing. How can you do that legally? Can you use somebody else's character without permission? Trevor says you should do it with CG and use archetypes for Batman and Joker and so on. It may worm its way, like I was saying with Black and White. I may use an idea, like try to model that, because Black and White are actually, they're loosely based on like Batman and the Green Hornet and Kato. So they're definitely kind of like more street level justice, type of right and wrong stuff. They don't deal with cosmic stuff or anything big like that. Was that your angle to try to get royalties for the new Arkham Madhouse in Batman canon? Worth a shot. Like I said, I don't have any idea what the Bat books are doing. The Owl Society books were the last good stuff overall, like even the like artwork, writing, everything, just the full package. But I even like would have to go further back to like Batman Year One, Dark Knight Returns, stuff like that. Oh, that story could have built another story where Batman, Bruce Wayne need to break into and out of New Arkham. Would have a great move to his detective roots. Yeah, I think that the idea could give way to a lot of other ideas that you could kind of build on this kind of new Gotham. Finally saw No Way Home this weekend. Emphasize his goodness, reminds me of his story. I still have to see that. I heard it's really good. Yeah, the new Batman movie I haven't seen either. That's kind of why I did this, is because of Batman Mania seems to be happening again. It's amazing when there's a good Batman movie out. Like, it can really create Batmania. Angela says, I wish they would have went with it. Like I said, I don't think I ever pitched it to an editor or anything at DC. It was just Mark. Legend, comics legend. Art, would you ever what is that? I think it's supposed to be recreate a Batman-like character for the T-Bear comic universe. I don't know. Like, I have so much love for Batman. I don't really have a lot of interest in creating a Batman, like an obvious stand-in for Batman. Like Black and White have like Gray. Brooks Gray is kind of the Alfred character. So there are some similar, not necessarily like the character himself, or that he's a Green Hornet, or that he dresses like a bat, or any of that type of stuff. But there are kind of similarities. I think more just kind of tone and the idea of what Batman is and what he does is kind of like Black and White. But I think that Black and White is actually a little bit more Green Hornet, with like some of the Batman isms. I think if you broke it down, it would be Green Hornet top, and then there would be James Bond, and then Batman. So those would be kind of the three forms of inspiration. Yeah, I think the story, like, if you guys really like the story, let me know, and I'll see, if the future can handle a story like that. Spirits Car says, definitely a compelling story, though I don't know if I want the story in regular canon. Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. Yeah, more like a one and done. To be honest, I thought of it originally as a one and done, but just as I was talking to you guys, I was thinking you might be able to do this as and ongoing. But you would have to have a game plan, right? I don't think you could just make it up on the fly. I think you would have to have like at least 12 issues or a year and a half's run of stories. And then if you wanted to kind of get it back to what it was before the storyline, then you would build that into it as well. So a way that you could kind of make it better, and then a way that you could kind of get back to the original, just in case people don't like the new idea. Maybe the new Arkham system leads to a better Gotham, but leads to the rise of new villains. Yeah, like that was. I think the movies played upon that. I think they do it with the Pattinson version too, like that. The one character creates the other. I don't know if I like that idea. I don't think Batman should create the villain, I guess maybe is a better way of saying it. Because then the Batman should just go away. Like if Batman is bringing out the crazies, right? Then if Batman went away, then the crazies would go away too, based on that logic. So I don't like that idea. Like in the first one with Nicholson is like, you created me. And I heard that they do something like that in the new Batman as well. I think Batman should be an answer to those things. I don't think he should create or escalate those things. He could escalate the crazies that were already there, but he doesn't inspire people to be crazy just because, he's dressing like a bat. So I don't like that idea. Like I said, if you got me going on Batman, like I'm very opinionated with it. And I think that's why I don't really read a lot of the comics unless they're exceptionally good. Because I really hold the character up, and it breaks my heart to see bad Batman stuff. It really does. Like I'm so opinionated. Like I don't think Batman should be in the Justice League. I think it's stupid. I think if you had to have Earth's mightiest heroes kind of thing, and you had to have Batman like on high, DC says Batman has to be in the Justice League for sales. I would say he should be in a supporting role. He should be behind the scenes. Like all the tech is Wayne tech. The satellite, if you keep the satellite idea, I know that's a dated idea, but like all of that stuff that the league uses is all Wayne tech. It's all disguised, so nobody can, figure it out. And then he works as like a field general. Well, not a field general, but like a general behind the scenes. So Batman, if he's the smartest guy in the DCU, which I still think Superman, like if you could do all that stuff, like Superman would be really, really intelligent. They don't play him up like he's that smart, which I think is a mistake. Like they kind of bring the humble Kent into the Wayne, or not Wayne, but they bring the Kent innocence or whatever into the Superman character, where I just think that if you could move at the speed of a bullet, your brain has to move that quickly too, and your eyes, all those reflexes. So I don't think he would be a dope. I think he would have things figured out way quicker than anybody in the room. Where I think Batman would come in a way to match wits with Superman would be, I think Batman thinks a little darker. Like, so Superman, if you wanted to play up that innocence, you could play up that he still believes in people. So it's not innocence. He believes in people. He believes that. So everything he comes up with is like a hopeful plan, where Batman would deal with the reality on the reality's terms that maybe Superman doesn't. So maybe that's where Batman could be more actively part of a team. But I don't see Batman as a team player. I like the idea. I mean, having said that, I do like the idea of Batman having a family, because I think one, he's a human being, so like Superman doesn't need a Superman family. He's Superman. Where Batman could use, some people on the street. He could use some backup. And also, there's one thing, there's a dynamic that's lacking in Batman or Bruce Wayne's life is a family. So it's like inadvertently Bruce Wayne gets a family by having, I don't like Batgirl, but having a Batgirl, having a Robin, having a Nightwing, having those characters, in his life are kind of like a family, but in the only way that he could really accept a family, a crime fighting family. And so on that level, it works for me. I don't really like I don't like Robin. I like Batman just being Batman. But having said that, some of the Robin stuff, some of the Batman family works on a certain level to me. But like I said, I'm really opinionated about this stuff. So some people are they're cool with all of this. Some person says, I mean, Superman is in Metropolis, Batman is Gotham. Why not rob a bank in Cincinnati? Huh? Yeah, well, why not? Let's see what Mark says. Wayne only doesn't have as much money as Luthor. He keeps stealing funds from his own companies to rebuild cars plant and getting destroyed all the time. Ha ha ha. Yeah. Let's see. Spirits Car says there are still police. Oh yeah, yeah. Answering the Cincinnati thing. I think he was just being funny. I don't think he's being serious. Way behind. Yeah. Well. You could come back and listen to the beginning part. Yeah, I was thinking that too. At this point, the Joker would be considered an international terrorist, wanted dead or alive. Anyone could kill him for him penalty free. In fact, the opposite, they'd give cash reward. Yeah, I was also thinking like, yeah, if you change the definition of like, well, he's just a criminal, like an insane criminal, by today's standards, he would be a terrorist. So there are different laws that would apply to him. And but the thing is, I thought about that when I came up with the story, but also I like stories that are a little bit more self-contained. So I purposefully didn't try to bring the outside world into the story because I wanted it to be Gotham centric, kind of like that Manhattan Beach thing where it was a group of people that lived in that area, shopped, raised their families, all those things in Gotham. So I wanted it to be kind of more personal and less big. I think if it was to become like an ongoing idea, I think you could get into some of those more international and terrorist ideas. But then that would be a story unto itself. Like how would then Gordon and Batman try to control it? Would they try to control it? Would this be under like some kind of what do they call that? Where the military comes in, and takes control. I don't know, but then that would be, to me, that would be a story unto itself. Like that idea couldn't be a throwaway idea. It would definitely have to be would be executed. It's a great idea. I like questions like I like when somebody is like, well, this doesn't work. I love that. I love those things because then your creative brain goes on and it's like, oh, well, now I have a new story idea, or a new story idea could come out of the questions. Yeah, I like those things. Okay. Oh, cool. Maybe there's a wrap up to this. Thanks. Oh no, this is the riddle. I thought it was the wrap up. Oh, that's right. I went back further. That's funny. Victorian madhouses are more akin to the stylized representation of Arkham Asylum. Yeah, I think it's a little too obvious. But the thing is, we can say that now because we've had 80 years, 75 years of that. I have to always say, like, I love all those things, but I also think like you need to bring new ideas in. But like, if let's just say this was happening, the idea that I just pitched, you have to figure out ways that you could get back to that old paradigm too, because maybe people want that, or maybe figure out ways of having both exist or whatever. Because unlike Marvel and DC that are like kind of destroying a lot of the old ideas and just going with new ideas, I'm not like that. I love a lot of these old ideas, so I would never do these things if they completely were like contemptuous towards the past. Like, I would only do this if these were additives, you know what I mean? Or they were a nice diversion for some story ideas and then get back to that already existing. Or what you find out, see, this is why it's fun. Or you find out that this new state-of-the-art building declines and turns into Arkham Asylum. Maybe it's just unsustainable. Maybe just the level of evil will corrupt anything that's good. So you show that it is working, right? But it's inevitable. It's inevitable that it becomes the original Arkham. It's inevitable that Gotham is a shithole. You know what I mean? Like, maybe it's just like the DNA of these things is so corrupt, But then also, if you did that, that's very pessimistic. And one of the things I don't like about some of the writers with Batman, I don't think it should be pessimistic. I think it could be dark, but it shouldn't be pessimistic. Like, you can have Batman dabble in the darkness. You could have the villains dabble in darkness. But at the end of the day, I think there should always be light. I think there always should be hope, at the end of the day. And I think that Batman can inspire as well. So I like those ideas. Oh, thank you, Bob. Yeah, please, you guys, smash the like, share out. I don't stream a lot these days just because I've really been focused on black and white. Oh my gosh, this stuff is coming out so good. I have a page I'm going to show you guys. And I also have the stretch goal. I have the 100K stretch goal that all of you that have already backed will get. Anybody who's on the verge of backing, back, because you're going to get this as well. So let's see what Trevor says. Trevor knows my rap, man, because we used to talk in the studio about this stuff all the time. Trevor's a great foil, like to play creative ping pong. I think Joker would find it hilarious. Perhaps deep down he is afraid. Yeah, I don't think he would be like in the story we played. Like, he's obviously afraid. Like, he would still have the mask, but that there would be one slip. There would be something that he says or something that he does that leads everybody to believe that he's afraid of this guy. Oh, Court of Owls is what it's called. Yeah. Thanks, guys. Oh, thank you. Hell to the inkers of inkers. May your quill always be sharp and lines crisp. Oh, I dig that. Thank you, Christian. They say that they are going to use the Court of Owls in the next Batman movie. If they're going to do it right. Because it's a good idea. I'd hate to see it done poorly. When I hear someone say they have a good pitch for a story, I think, yeah, sure you do. But this was legitimately good. Thanks, Praetor. I do appreciate it. Yeah. It's weird because I like telling these stories because I also want people to think of me as a storyteller. So even though nothing will probably ever come of this story, I like to tell it every once in a while because I think it is good, and I think that it does help people think of me maybe as a, not just as an inker or not just as a penciler, but maybe as a storyteller as well. I would never say I'm a writer per se. I'm more of a storyteller. I can hear justice. Yeah, here it is. Here's the offender, the Kong squeaky toy. We got him a regular tennis ball, and he mangled that. I don't know what these Kong balls are made out of, but they're way more durable than just a regular tennis ball. I thought that was a bird. Yeah, I think there's some truth to that too, because we have one squeaky toy that actually sounds like something's being killed. It's bad. Yeah, he's pretty good in the studio. There's one thing I don't do with the dog is I don't play with him, and I don't give him time in the studio. So I always make sure it's downstairs or in another room or outside. So when he does come up and he does want to play, but I don't give him attention. So he's kind of learning that if you come up here, just lay down and be good. It doesn't always work, but he's still a puppy. John Byrne is drawing an X-Men and releasing it for free, so no legal ramification, and he is selling the art. That would be a major commitment. My heart is with Black and White and Chrono right now. If maybe I could get somebody else to commit to the artwork, but then selling the artwork to get payment wouldn't work. The new Batman movie turns the Riddler into an internet incel. It's Batman versus Legion of Incels, and people can sniff out the woke agenda in that. Yeah, and then there was just that throwaway bullshit line that Catwoman. Maybe if it was another character, I think it would be better. But Catwoman says something about your white privilege, and the reason I don't like white privilege as even a saying is because I don't think it exists. I think privilege exists, but I don't think strictly white privilege exists. I think if you're money or you're born into money, whether you're black, white, Asian, Hispanic, whatever it is, I think what I know as privilege, that's where it exists. It doesn't exist in skin color. There are really poor people. There are destitute, poor white people. And when you say that there's privilege, then you're also taking a shot at me and saying that that somehow my life was easier than yours because of my skin color. If this is easy, if my life was fucking easy, then you got another thing coming, sister, because I had to freaking tooth and claw. You think this is easy? You think getting on this level is easy? I got news for you, man. It's not. So that's why I think it's a lie. I think that they're lying when they say that. So if you take a character that I like Catwoman, and you have Catwoman say a line like that, I don't like that. I think you're perpetuating a lie. Even if it's just a throwaway line, like if it was a character that you're not supposed to like, maybe because then I would hate the character, then it would work. But I don't want to not like Catwoman. I think Catwoman works best when there's gray area. Like, Catwoman's interesting to me because you never know what she's going to do. She's amoral, so she could do something good or she could do something bad. I will say something. If Kevin Thompson is in the chat right now, he likes this character. Her name is Juju. And I have to say, the character was almost 100% Pamela. Like, it's a Pamela creation. And the character is the closest thing in the black and white universe you're going to come to a Catwoman character. So I probably said too much right now, but she's definitely a gray area character that exists in a black and white world. Let me just say that. And she's kind of more. She's going to give Whitney a run for her money. Let me see. The lawyer seems to have wait, let me slow down because sometimes it's hard with my dyslexia. The lawyer seems like he'd have a backup to kill the Joker if he's willing to break the law to frame the Joker. Why not outright kill him in case it fails? Because I think he's not. This is not just a self-serving guy. Like, I want this guy to be like, he wants to cleanse. He wants everybody that has been wronged by the Joker to feel like they're part of it, right? That's why he encourages the public enemy number one aspect. That's why he encourages the mob mentality, because he wants everybody to feel like he does. He wants everybody that's been hurt by this guy to have an avenue to exercise some of the demons so that they can have some kind of closure, so that they can feel like justice was served. So this guy is kind of a compelling character because he's not a mustache twirling villain. This guy is not just like a single dimensional character. This guy, you can kind of relate to him because, like I said, the debate has always been, since I remember just openly talking about Batman to other creative people, that why has Batman not killed the Joker? Why is the Joker still alive? You know what I mean? So this way, we can address that issue, but not kill the Joker, because I think that, don't kill the cash cow, right? Like, you want the Joker to stay around. So you want it to be like that. So the guy is kind of escalating things to a mob mentality, and the mob is trying to kill the Joker, but it's not this guy. It's the mob. So if the mob does it, one, he didn't personally kill the Joker. He just framed him. So morally he could feel superior. I think it's more about that. It's more about, like, it becomes more of a win-win kind of scenario on a bunch of different levels for this guy, for Gotham, and for the people that have been wronged by the Joker. I think, like, just killing the guy would be too easy, and it wouldn't be that compelling of a story. Although there are aspects of it. Like I said, Gordon and Batman have to keep the Joker alive, which I think that becomes part of, like, that this is how deeply they believe in justice. This is how deeply they believe in the system, that they're willing to do this. You know what I mean? Maybe the deal that Batman works out with the Joker is that, that they'll keep him alive, but he has to stand trial, and that they'll do everything that they can to make sure that the truth comes out and that he's found innocent, because Gordon, Batman, and the people in the know, they know that the Joker isn't the bad guy in this case, and that they have to find the other guy, because the other guy is just as bad as the Joker. Maybe even worse, because the Joker is a single-minded entity. I did like what Christopher Nolan and Jonathan Nolan did for was it Dark Knight, with the Joker story. The middle chapter is that he was just an agent of chaos. And the Joker's he's always been one of those characters that there's been all these different aspects to the character that can kind of contradict it. Like in the Nicholson version, with the Tim Burton, I thought, and my wife agrees, we talk story ideas all the time. She's really good with story. and she said she never liked Nicholson's Joker. And what we came to, one, the performance is way over the top, and some people think it was entertaining. I think he got too much screen time. I think there was stuff that should have been cut, like they spent too much time on him. But anyway, that's a little aside. But it's too simple. He's just crazy, right? That's a really simple idea. And it used to work in film. I think things weren't quite as complicated or complex as they are now, or even comic books. Oh, well, he's just crazy, right? But the Nolan film, of course, he's crazy. Anybody is going to do that is crazy, but you don't have to overly like go, well, he's crazy. Just his actions, it's self-explanatory. But he just wants to see the world burn. When they gave, what's his name, the actor, he had some great lines in that. When he says the story about the guy that was these rubies in Africa or whatever, and he got these rubies and then he just destroyed them because his thing was just about watching things burn. Like he just wanted things to be destroyed. He was just an agent of anarchy. And so the Joker is that. And by doing that, they proved you can't manipulate him, and nothing scares him. He burned a pile of money. I thought that was kind of ridiculous that they actually had a pile of money. I mean, but that's kind of the cartoon comic book stuff of it. And I applaud it, but I think there are people that would go, oh, that's kind of over the top. But he burned the whole pile of money. And I thought that's a great illustration of like, he's uncorruptible. Like his point of view is his point of view. Another favorite of mine was that the people of Gotham proved, even as much as they wanted this guy taken down or whatever it was, or wanted self-preservation, they couldn't blow up the other ship. They couldn't kill those people. And they proved to the Joker that if you put people in a situation like this, some may be corrupt, but some won't. And so he proved the point with Two-Face, but he didn't with these other people. So even the inmates, that big guy comes over there and grabs the detonator and throws it out the window. I thought it was a great scene. It like, usually I don't like that stuff because I like the hero to do that, but I thought in this case, it was a battle of ideology. And so by doing that, it hurt the Joker more than if Batman was to punch the shit out of him. You know what I mean? So I thought that was a great idea. That middle chapter, there's some flaws in it that I can see and I dislike, but I think it was probably the best Batman ever put on film, as far as I'm concerned. I also really like the first Batman, but there's also some real flaws with that. And I like the first Batman because I like that they created Gotham, and that I think why they did it and why it worked for me at the time was that it almost felt like it wasn't our world. Like the way Tim Burton created Gotham City and everything, it just felt like it was a completely different place. And so then you don't bring real world logic to the movie because it's kind of like its own thing. And I thought it was a pretty smart way to create a comic book film by putting it in art directionally its own world. And I liked it. And one of the things is like Sam Hamm, who wrote that screenplay, I got to read it. I got to read the second screenplay before it was made. And I got to read the Watchmen. I had a roommate that knew Sam Hamm, so he would share all that stuff with me. And one of the things that they had an idea in the Sam Hamm Watchmen movie is that the Watchmen movie proper, the story proper, was art directionally just like the comic book. So it was all heightened. You had those dirigibles. You had things in that world that we didn't have in our world, right? So it was recognizable as where we live, but it wasn't those things. So when in this idea, instead of the lifted idea from, what was it, Twilight Zone or whatever, where Alan Moore, created that monster, then put him in the middle of the world, and that's what, there was a new threat. There was a third threat that united the two parties. And so I think he got that from like a Twilight Zone or something, like Outer Limits or something like that. And so in the movie, they couldn't do that because it would obviously be a lift, and they didn't want to do that. So they came up with a new idea. So Ozymandias was able to create a rift in time. And the rift was just small enough that he could aim a sniper rifle through it. And so the idea was to kill John Osterman before he becomes Dr. Manhattan. So he opens the rift, aims the rifle, boom, kills Osterman, right? And then boom, it's done. And so then, like the end, you see Sally Jupiter or whatever her name is, and I forget the Night Owl guy's name. You see them walking kind of like they're a couple now, but in the background and in the world, it's New York City. It's the real world. So it's kind of like a fun idea. I like stuff like that. I mean, it's super fantastic, but like that, this comic book world, it never existed because it was never like superheroes, all that super fantastic stuff that's in that was one path that reality could have taken. But since it didn't, there were no superheroes, there was no comic book ideas in the world. So then it was our world. It was the real world. And I thought that was a neat idea. So that's my take on like Hollywood creating like these alternate kind of existence. Because I do think like the Marvel universe somehow was able to do it. And I don't know how they did, but they were able to kind of use real world surroundings with super fantastic elements in them. And they made it work. Let me see. Trevor Cameron says, I hate the new Batman movie, but I'll hold my critique until after you've seen it. Cool. I need to move along. I still have some other stuff I want to show you. Superman stories used about him outsmarting his opponents. Yeah, why not? The thing is, I also think the Flash wouldn't be a dope either, because his synapses in his brain would be firing at an accelerated rate. He could read faster than anybody else. He could absorb things faster than anybody else. It's not just about running faster. These would be highly intelligent people. They play the Flash up like that he's kind of a dope. They also kind of do that with the Atom too. These guys would be freaking highly intelligent. I like the Marvel universe in a way better because they have a lot of genius level characters, but they don't downplay them. And they all coexist at the same time. DC kind of makes some of their more intellectual characters, they kind of make them into dopes. And I don't like that. Because I also think like it's easy to make your heroes, it's easier to make your villains if you make your heroes less than they should be. So I do think that if you play your characters, your heroes up to the fullest extent, then you have to create an extra badass villain. And isn't that what it's all about? Like it challenges the writer and the creative people to make better villains. And I think the key to all these characters, I've said it on Pontificators before, the key to making the DC universe, the Marvel universe, make better villains. Make villains Like, you don't have to make Superman more contemporary. Make his villains more contemporary, and then Superman will seem contemporary. You don't have to change his way of thought. You don't have to make him cynical. You don't have to change his ideology. You just show that these new villains, why their ideology doesn't work and why his does. Let me see. Eric says, if Gotham is pristine to be predestined, I'm sorry, to be a terrible place, then that means Batman is predestined to be a failure. Yes. That's what I'd be railing against. Exactly. I don't think you can ignore it. He's doing no good. And then if you throw in that he escalates the villains, like he creates these super villains, then everything would be better off if Batman didn't exist. Maybe somebody should kill Batman. I find it funny that Batman doesn't kill, but will beat someone to near death. There was a parody of this with Patton Oswalt as the Penguin. Yeah, I didn't like that. I think in the first Christopher Nolan Batman, they had like, I don't have to save you. Like, what was it? Ra's al Ghul. They were in a subway, and he said, "Help me or save me or whatever." He goes, I forget what the line was, but he says, "I don't have to help you, but I don't have to save you either," or there was something like that. So Batman just lets the guy die. Like, what's the difference? Like, you're still making a moral judgment call. You know what I mean? Like I don't think that's being a hero. So see, these are things that I have strong feelings about. Like, I think Batman would save the guy, and then he would turn him over to Gordon and to the, due process and all that other stuff. You know what I mean? Like, I think, like, even like, what was it? I think, what was his name? Frank Miller had Batman throw somebody off a building and he broke his legs. I think they did that in one of the Nolan films as well. I don't know. I think you would really have to put Batman in a situation that was horrific. Like where I could believe somebody would slightly come unhinged if they saw a real atrocity, like something really horrible just happen, then I can see it. Otherwise, I could go all day, man. I love talking about Batman and these superhero things. Thank you so much, Joe Bernardo, for $5 super chat. Get yourself a coffee for 100K breakthrough. Black and White rocks. Thank you so much, man. Oh, geez. I'm listening. Yeah, the next Black and White story arc is going to have a character named Juju, and she's gonna kick ass, man. Let me see. Nicholson was the Joker personified. It was such a joy to see the Joker kill his rivals with an electric joy buzzer. Classic Joker. There was a lot done right. I think the main thing was there was two things. I think they gave Nicholson too much airtime, and the Batman character was kind of almost a secondary character. It was like a Joker film. I do believe that even the Chris Nolan film became a Joker film. I guess it's hard when you have a character like that dynamic, but that's why you have to be careful. So I did like that there was some classic Joker stuff, with the joy buzzer and some of that other stuff. Although I thought, like, where did it come from? Like, it wasn't really, they didn't really motivate him properly with some of the more, like stuff like that. And the whole thing, like, you created me, I didn't like. I think it would probably come down to those two things. But it would also be hard to, to on the editing floor, some of that Nicholson stuff, because it's gold. I mean, the performance is really good. I just think some of it's a little too long. I wonder if there's they could do like a director's cut. We got Philip in the house. Lost pages. To this day, the best live action adaptation of a comic book is Frank Miller's 300. I didn't want to watch it because the visuals just look like a bad video game. That's before Zack Snyder fully played his hand. I think for me, if you're going to do, and this is going to sound really, really weird, it would have to be The Watchmen for me. Yeah, The Crow, I do think was brilliant, and they got the justice idea. They got the karmic supernatural justice. They got everything right. The tone of that movie, and it was very, very dark. But that's a good example of like the hope. The hope was he saved the little girl, and he reunited the little girl with the mother. So you got the idea that moving forward, the girl was going to be okay. And because you got the idea that Eric Draven and his fiance were kind of looking after the little girl. So they were the hope for the little girl, maybe. But that since they weren't there anymore, the mom was able to step up and be a mom, a good person. And so you got the idea that she was a good person, but she was just a junkie. And so the Crow exorcised her demons. And then the other one, the obvious one, was that organized crime group. They were gone. So the thing is, you could take a character like the Crow. Hold on. You could take a character like the Crow, and you could do that stuff with him because the character was karmic. He was supernatural. He was almost like I say this a lot, like he was hell bent but heaven sent. So it's almost like he was authorized, like he was given the ultimate like biblical power to kill those people. Like, and then he killed them by their own MOs. You know what I mean? So I thought as far as entertainment, because I think people like their entertainment where the villain pays the price, but they also pay the price that's in direct correlation to what they did wrong or what they did bad. And I thought The Crow was a great example of that. It's kind of like there was a Spectre run in Adventure Comics that I really liked that Jim Aparo illustrated. And that's how the Spectre was. The Spectre was The Crow. He was kind of he was a good guy that was killed by this mob. And that I guess God or whoever was like, well, your job wasn't done. You still need to be able to bring balance to things. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a special gift, and you're going to go as a spirit, and you're going to be able to be like the spirit of vengeance. You're going to be able to right these wrongs. And so he kind of takes down the organized crime that did him wrong. So this group, because he was a cop or a detective, and so then they did, he took down the mob by the same way that they were hurting other people. So I thought that was very, very cool. And so they use that idea with the Crow. So basically the Crow is that Spectre run. It's almost identical to it. And then this has closure where the character gets rest at the end. So you get the idea that he gets to be with his fiance for all eternity. So The Crow really works on a lot of levels. Snyder's Watchmen movie is as good as an adaptation of the Watchmen comic as could ever hope. Yes. And the change of the ending in the movie. Yes, I think the same thing. It's an improvement. It's better than the ending of the book because, in a strange way, even though it's Zack Snyder, there's more hope in that version of the movie. So I do think that the Watchmen movie is a better version of the Alan Moore, David Gibbons comic book. I do agree. I think that if his brain worked faster, he could. I don't know. I don't know. Absorption is a different idea, or memory, stuff like that. So the Flash, I think Superman should be able to retain. He's Superman, but maybe the Flash could be, as soon as the input is there, it goes out because there's so much input that he's receiving that he doesn't really have a way to store it. But then again, I think those are interesting story ideas. Let me see. The Flash with his speed might be bored with reality. A minute seeming like an hour to him. Yeah, I thought the same thing. My roommate, his name's John Moore, he was one of the main writers on the Flash TV series. Him and Howard Chaykin. So we used to talk about the Flash all the time, and yeah, because my thing was yeah, that he would kind of be in conversation and stuff. He would be a step or two ahead of everybody else, so he would already kind of know instinctively how that conversation was going to end. Oh, that's cool. It's a fun movie. Yeah. Yeah, yeah, and the gun thing is kind of a metaphor because he thinks that weak people use a gun. I thought that Batman Beyond was one of the best Batman versions ever done. And Batman as Bruce Wayne, if I could say it that way, is a badass character. So for me, Batman Beyond was it was Batman meets like Spider-Man in a strange way. Like the what is the kid's name? Terry McGinnis. He's kind of like Peter Parker to me. He's like Peter Parker, um, that's being mentored by Bruce Wayne. That show is genius. That Batman Beyond. It's one of my all-time favorite Batman. I'll tip you off on the Torchy's menu. Maybe another time, Jasper. I know you're a good guy. I'll give you a wrench in the future. The Crow is amazing. The first Crow, they shit on everything in the second Crow. Um, yeah, yeah, yeah. All right, so I'm going to do some fun stuff right now. So one, I am going to show off something near and dear to my heart, which is this. And so hopefully you guys are seeing this. This is Black and White. I almost said Bat and White. Black and White, Volume 2, Man versus Machine. In a world where law and order is often blurred to gray, justice can only be black and white. We are 1,100. Wait, 1,000. What is that? 100,000. Oh my God. 101,000. There you go. 101,959. These are big numbers, you guys. 1,246 backers. So I guess we can officially say this is a success because we're six figures. I thought we were doing pretty good beyond or earlier, but you guys just totally floored me, kicked my butt, and this is beyond my wildest dreams. So Yes, Black and White is back, better than ever. Man versus Machine. This is going to be the epic conclusion to the storyline, and it's an epic 64 page. So that's the story proper. But we do have an epilogue that Joe Fulton and myself have written, and that epilogue is going to lead into the next story arc. So that's going to be fantastic. And the reason that exists is because of the stretch goals. You guys got us to that stretch goal, and now you have a epilogue. So we have the Kenneth Rocafort variant, which is doing very well. We have the Joe Bennett variant, which is doing gangbusters. And then, of course, the high octane. This thing is so cool. This is Pedro Eng's artwork with Von Klaus of Monster MD claim to fame. What is it? Black Terror is his current crowdfund, and just a great combination. I like working with Von Klaus. We worked with each other kind of on some of the Chrono Mechanic stuff. He put the video together, and he's just a great sounding board, just a really good storyteller. He's one of those guys that gets things quickly, and doesn't mind throwing in input. And sometimes people give you input, but it's nothing that you really need. It's kind of like, it's almost like off on its own tangent. It's like they're trying to sell you an idea, but that it doesn't really fit what you're doing. But Von Klaus is one of those guys that just always connects with what I'm doing. So very, very good. That's a 22-page animated adventure. And you guys, this is volume 1, second printing, and it's got a new cover on it. And if you want the full story, you guys can get this. The original version completely sold out, so this is the only thing that we have available right now. And it's got the new cover on it. And Pamela's talking to printers right now, so this is probably going to go out within the next couple weeks to the printer. So we're getting stuff made now. We're going to start getting some of the trading cards and some of the stretch goal stuff made. So this is the Greg Capullo Virgin variant. Yeah, so we have those in stock. We don't have the original remastered cover. We pretty much sold out of that. We still have about half of the 64 pages of original layouts. You can get those as stretch goals and as add-ons. And here, not a stretch goal, I'm sorry, you can get that as an add-on or as one of the tiers. I had my brain set on stretch goals. So I'm not going to read all the stretch goals, but there's a lot of cool ones here. But Pamela and I left the 100K stretch goal as something special. This Way Comes, or spectacular. And it is going to be, these things are expensive, you guys. We're going to get like metal pins made, and they have like, is it called cloisonne? There's like a plastic finish, and then it's like a plastic that's poured into a metal frame. I probably should have let me see. I'll see if I can find some. Oh, wait, that's not what I wanted to do. I'll have to do this when I go off screen, but I'll find an example and show it to you. They're pretty cool looking, but we're going to update the site after lunch probably. And we'll update the stretch goal. And we're also going to make available, we're going to add a tier. We're going to make this page right here. Let's see if I can do it this way. We're going to give as a tier, we're going to make available this page here. Is it showing yet? Let's stop sharing. I'll come back and I'll do this again. Oh my gosh, I see a super chat. Yeah, Terror in the Trenches is Von Klaus's. Oh, cool. We got Zaid Comics for $5. Art, are you coming to the Anime Con in Houston in July to meet up with everybody? Congrats. Oh, this is the first I've heard of this. Maybe some good Comicsgate guys are going to be there, maybe I'll go. Yeah, Houston's pretty close. Congrats on the campaign. Everyone grab Lost Pages 2, Fulfilling Now. Yeah, Lost Pages 2 is cool. Philip gets it, man. Philip totally gets it. He's another guy when I talk concepts. He's like an old soul. He understands all these things. And I think that Lost Pages has some really cool kind of stand-ins, like iconic characters throughout the generation. So he's got pulp heroes, he's got radio kind of radio days heroes, he's got heroes from the Image days. He's got all these different kind of stand-ins, and it's just a fun idea, just a fun, cool comic book idea. And Philip and his brother Brandon are just good guys. And thank you so much for the super chat. Let me see if I can do this. Oh, really? To an anime con? Ethan's going to go to an anime con? That I'll have to believe when I see it. Art, would you ever do? I want to do the Las Vegas con, but I think I'd have to be a guest and they would have to pay me. I usually get paid an appearance fee for shows. So the guy, I forgot his name now. I've talked to him. He said he would pay my expenses, but not pay for my runner, I think it's called. So I don't know. Now it's a pretty long flight. Before, when I lived in California, it wasn't too bad. So let me show this page off, and then I'm going to wrap this up. All right, so now you should be seeing this. Yes. All right, this is the page that we're going to put up as a tier very, very soon. Well, it will go up sometime today. I'm not going to give you an actual time. But this is also an example of what level this book is being drawn at, and the storytelling. I think it's really good. I'm really happy with what I'm doing. I'm usually not that outspoken about it, but I'm really proud of this, and it's taken a little bit more time, but the satisfaction, the quality, I think, is really speaking for itself. And also, if I wanted to be back in the trenches, Marvel, DC, working under crazy deadlines, that's where I would be. But my love and my attention is here with CG and putting out these really, really high-end books. Yeah, I would never be able to do this at Marvel or DC because I just don't have. They just never gave me the time to do it. There are guys that can do great work, but I don't think they can do this on a monthly basis. So yeah, look at these are smaller figures, but there's a lot of detail in there. I think this thing's coming out really cool. There's Black, and there's White. She's happy to see him, and I just like all the textures, all the line work. Yeah, and I think I mean you can see some of the influences in where I'm taking them from. But a lot of them is just like a combination of stuff and then coming in with my own spin. So this is like where I think 40 years of evolution has gotten me to, so I think there's a lot of outside the box stuff that I'm doing here. Yeah. So, so this is Black and White, you guys. This is the line art and storytelling for Man versus Machine. So you guys, the link is in the description, and click the link. And if you like what you see here, pick yourself up a copy. I would greatly appreciate it. So let's get back. I'm going to catch up real quick. The art is next level. That's a pun. Puny. Punny. Let's see. Jimmy J. Yeah, that's the guy that runs the Vegas show. Yeah, Jimmy J is a good guy. Oh, if they're gonna do a panel, I just don't know. Like, I heard like anime shows. It's a lot. It's a different crowd, so that they don't necessarily cross over into like mainstream comics. I'll look into it though, because I could drive there. Kevin says art is at top notch. Art is at at the top of his game. Wow, I'm just making up words. These pages are exceptional. Thank you so much, Kevin. I do appreciate it. Let's see. There's a mini meeting happening at Dallas Fan Expo for Perch and some of the guys who are regulars on Thinking Critical. Thinking Critical. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, MegaCon seems fun. Let me see. I was going to get those pins. Let me find some examples of pins. Let's do it this way. Bop, 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 beep, bop, bop, boop, boop, boop. Yeah. Let me see. These are let me go someplace I can show you better. I'm trying to find a good example. Yeah, I guess this is. I'll do this one. No, I don't want to do that. Here we go. Save as. I'll do it this way. Okay. So let me go back and I'll show you what the pins will look like. Let me see what's going on here. Okay, let's do this. Technology is not my friend. If technology was an ice cream flavor, it'd be pralines and dick. That's a Wayne's World joke. Yeah, here it is. It's gonna kind of look like this. So it's like a metal backing with a frame, and then they pour like this liquid plastic into it, and that's where you get the colors. So they can do like as many colors as you need. So I'm going to do the black and white logo. So it's black, white, and red. So I'm going to do the one with the gun sight. So I'm going to do that as a pin. And Pamela's putting all that together now. So that's going to be the 100K stretch goal, you guys. So that's going to be fantastic. And that's a thank you. They're expensive, but I think they're going to look really cool. You can wear them to cons, badge of honor. And I think they're, like I said, they're a little expensive, but they're worth it. You guys helped us get to this 100K stretch goal. We couldn't do it without you. This, CG and beyond, just the best fans ever that are supporting these books, supporting all the individual creators. And in turn, I think you're getting some killer comic books, man. I think everybody's just stepping it up and just making good comics. So that's the plan, Stan. So anyway, I should get going. I've been talking for a long time. Thank you guys. I hope the Batman story was cool. I hope you enjoyed it. I do like storytelling. It is one of my passions. Black and white is one of those things, and excuse me. I hope to be continuing telling these stories for years to come. So yeah, and thanks you guys for hanging out with me in the chat. Thanks for all the super chats. You guys are fantastic. And once again, from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for supporting all of CG, but thank you for supporting Black and White in particular. And I have a good friend that's he's having a hard time right now. His wife had an aneurysm, and he's He said she's doing better today, but she's not doing well. So if I could get some well wishes, some prayers, some good well wishes. I've known this guy since I was 7. I think if I always hesitate saying best friend because it sounds very high school or elementary school, but he's my best friend, and his wife is fantastic, and I would like to see her pull out of this without any problems. Uh, yeah, so I think there is some power in collective thought and collective prayer. So if you guys could just kind of think about, her name's Leanne, so give Leanne some thoughts. My friend's name is Kurt, and give him some well wishes and some prayers. I would greatly appreciate it. So thanks, guys. I'll see you tonight if there is going to be a King show, and that is on Ethan Van Sciver's channel. And we're going to rock that dump. So you guys take care. Have a fantastic day, and I'll see you